On air, online, on demand. Watch AFR when you want, where you want with CN8, the Comcast network.
There is a new trend sweeping the globe that has advertisers using new media to capture the hearts of consumers. They're also hoping to capture some of their money, and it seems to be working. Viral videos are being used for advertising more and more often, but the question is, can advertisers go too far? BMW produced what looks like a real documentary for one of its new cars. Take a look at this.
Today's the big day, and all the townspeople are anxiously waiting for the world to descend upon Oberpuffelbacken.
Everything about this 30-minute documentary is fake. From the name of the Bavarian town, to its quirky inhabitants, to the far-fetched concept of catapulting a BMW from Germany to the United States. It's part of an ad campaign to launch BMW's latest car in the U.S. market.
BMW is a brand name. You don't need to do this.
No, we don't need to do it, but sometimes you want to have a little fun along the way.
And fun, even if over the top, creates buzz.
We never target demographically. We always focus psychographically.
And what does that mean?
It means what kind of mindset do we think this vehicle will really resonate with? In the end, it could be an 18-year-old and it could be an 80-year-old.
Sure.
But if they share a similar mindset, we think we've got a right car for them.
Wow.
But experts say companies need to be careful.
If you kind of get too quirky or a little too obtuse with what you're trying to say, people just might miss the whole idea.
Or scare people, like this internet ad that showed cell phones popping popcorn, making people wonder if cell phones can be damaging to the brain. That ad was also a hoax.
So if this whole thing is fake, and you're not telling your customers it's fake, is that really a good idea?
Obviously, we're not trying to in any way hide or conceal the fact that we're behind it, which is why we're talking today.
Today, yes, but it was on the internet for months before the car company admitted it was theirs. BMW says it's been a hit, getting 10 million views.
And just for the record, you cannot launch a 1 Series from Germany to the U.S. Won't happen.
Well, we're not going to do it.
And this type of advertising is found most often on YouTube, and it is growing very fast. Have you seen this one?
3 balls and a strike to count to Brent Johnson. 1 out, top of the 7th inning. Fresno 2, Tacoma 1. Santos in a jam. Johnson his first year at AAA. From the set he deals. That swung on and driven deep down the left field line toward the corner, and this ball is going to be... Oh, it's caught! It's not Jake Wald. That's the ball girl. Jake Wald in left field can't believe it. And look, she shows him up. She just sort of tosses him the ball, saying, "Take that, Jake. I don't see you making the effort." Alfonso, the catcher, he can't believe it. Let's look at that replay. Oh, my. What an amazing play. And now look at her sitting there saying, "No big deal."
You know, it's really hard to tell. That's an ad, actually, for Gatorade. If you look really closely, you can see a bottle of the drink next to her chair when she sits back down. The clip was a huge hit on YouTube before people actually found out it was fake. And here's yet another example. Matt Harding traveled the world doing his silly dance, and he ended up having it all paid for by a gum company. And the video proved to be so popular, it's gotten over 10 million hits on YouTube. So, should this be considered an effective form of advertising, marketing, or just hype? David Fuller from Mother Advertising in New York City is joining us now to shed some insight and some light into this advertising craze. Hi, David.
Hi, how are you?
Good. It does seem like people are being duped. What do you think?
Well, I think that there's some really great examples of how viral marketing can work, and there are also some examples that aren't so good.
But you know, as someone said, it seems too obtuse in some cases. If it is too obtuse, people won't get the message. They'll be confused. And doesn't that defeat the whole purpose?
It could quite possibly defeat the purpose. I think that there are two quintessential points to this, though, that make for good advertising. Just like when we watch a television ad and rate it as something that's too obtuse or something that doesn't resonate, the basic tenets of branding still apply here. It needs to be relevant. It needs to touch a consumer in a meaningful way. It has to be compelling content. But let's not kid ourselves and think that these marketers just haphazardly threw this content up on YouTube and hoping that it would become viral. What happens here, and these three examples are fantastic because they show very well thought out and very well orchestrated integrated plans. With the Stride, Matt, he was able to travel all over the world, but they also were able to determine through a blogging strategy how best to reach people and then use that for their sales force to go into markets that they before weren't able to get into. So a very effective way to reach people. The Gatorade example is another great way that they tied not just a viral video, but they tied this into the All-Star game. They tied this into paid media, into a blog strategy. And so again, you know, if we can create strategies that are much larger than just putting something out on YouTube, it could be something very compelling.
But when does it go from marketing to a ploy?
Well, you know, I think that consumers see through traditional advertising now, and that's okay. They see a 30-second ad for what the advertiser is trying to promote and a print ad for what the advertiser is trying to promote, and it's staged. So, you know, what is the ploy? Is the ploy the traditional advertising? Consumers are more and more saying yes, and they are asking to see other faces of a brand, to see the you know, the brand when it's not in its exact lighting with its makeup on and all done up. They want to see a brand have a little more character. And the BMW feature film that you showed is a wonderful example of how a brand can just add more lure and capture people's imagination more and more. Consumers see through this. They expect it now as an enhancement to the brand, and they're quite frankly looking for things that are going to be more compelling than traditional advertising.
Well, they're certainly not bored, and they're certainly, you know, getting an idea that these things do exist and what to watch for, and they do create a buzz, don't they?
They really do, and if done well, you know, this can be now the tail that's wagging the dog. In many ways, people are talking about this. I don't really remember the last Stride ad that I saw, but I remember the dancing Matt character.
How could you forget him?
It's fantastic stuff, and you know, they've dedicated a huge part of their website to this. They, as I said, they've tied it into their sales force, so they're effectively using this, and it really has become the tail wagging the dog.
As you say, the consumers are onto it, but it seems that they're enjoying it, and that's what it's all about. That's what these advertisers want. So they're doing something right, apparently. David Fuller from Mother Advertising in New York, thank you for joining us.
Thanks a lot.